Hello all you dungeon delving cosmonauts, as always I am Cosmic, and today we're going to be taking a preview look at hack and slash game Book of Demons. Now, Book of Demons is a hack and slash RPG that is currently in development by Think Trunk Games, and the game is currently on early access, so it is not yet feature complete, so do be aware when you're checking out the footage. Book of Demons is the first game in a series of games called Return to Games. Now, it's supposed to be an upcoming series from Think Trunk that is all about going back to the so-called golden age of gaming, whenever that was, and taking a look at classic genres and putting them into a series of books with a narrator that is somewhat humorous at times. Now, Book of Demons themselves is a hack and slash RPG game. It is a really fantastic looking game, mainly due to the idea behind the game. Now, each game within the Return to Game series is a book, and so you get transported into the paperverse. So everything is made of paper, which culminates into this really visually striking art style because everything is like a pop-up book, and it looks really, really damn good. It's humorous, it's fun, and then there's also the serious dark tones as well, and the whole thing just is a visual pleasure to go through. The mechanics themselves, however, work very, very simple, and it's something that at first I thought was a mobile port, just simply because how simple the controls are. Now, as you are going through the dungeons, and it's very inspired by things like the original Diablo, whereby you have levels upon levels of levels all in a dungeon in the same town. You can return to town at any time, and in town you have access to amenities such as a shop or a ability to talk to the sage about the story or identify cards, and we'll talk about them in a moment. But the gameplay is actually very simple. Once you get into a dungeon, and it's a randomly generated dungeon which you can set the parameters, so you can have a quick dungeon, a medium dungeon, and they will each take different lengths of time and have various levels within them. The great thing about Book of Demons is how simple it is. It feels very, very like an iOS game in the good sense, in that you can pick up and play and then put it down after 20 minutes and you feel like you've accomplished something. The problem I have with the mechanics currently is the fact that everything is on rails. So as you're progressing through the dungeon, you can only go up, down, or left and right depending on what the pathways are. And you have to essentially stop yourself by clicking. You can retreat, go backwards by clicking, and then you attack enemies by clicking on the enemies. So it is a very much a click fest game. Certain enemies will have armor, so you have to click on the shield that will appear around them to break the armor shield, and then you're able to click on the enemy to reduce its health. There are bosses in there that will have special mechanics, but at its core, it's a very simplistic hack and slash. There's not much in terms of animations because everything is supposed to be like a pop-up book, so everything moves without actually moving its legs, and you attack without the character actually moving, which at first seems a little bit odd and to its detriment, but then it kind of all works within the art style and the aesthetic itself. My biggest pro of the combat itself is the card system. Now, cards are essentially abilities that you can use or items that you can use, and you can equip a certain number of cards at any one time and unlock more card slots later. And the card system is very, very straightforward. You equip a card and then you can use that card. If the card is an item card like a health potion, then you have to rebuff that potion card in order to use it again. However, other cards like ability cards can be used over and over. There are different rarities of cards, and once you find a card, it may be an unidentified card, so you have to take it back to town and get the sage to identify it for you at a cost. Like I said, the game is completely inspired by games like the original Diablo, and you can tell that in pretty much every mechanic that it has. As you level up, your stats will increase, and the only thing you can really affect by leveling up is whether to put one health point or one mana point. Mana is used for activating abilities and using cards, whereas health is needed to obviously stay alive. For me, at the current state of the game, it is very good. It is, however, very, very easy. It is way too easy at the moment. It's very easy to blitz through the game. It does get progressively harder and introduces new enemies, each with having different mechanics, such as gargoyles that will jump towards you and get up and close and personal very, very quickly to do damage. But for the most part, it still remains fairly easy comparatively to other hack and slash games. At the current time in the early access build, you can only play as the warrior class. However, it does have another 2 classes coming, and there will be more quests, more difficulty levels coming in the final version. What I think the game is good at is providing a hack and slash experience it does feel very nostalgic, and it provides a very great visual and audio experience. The voice acting for the most part is really good. However, it is a very simplistic experience. So if you are a hardcore hack and slash fan, this probably isn't going to be for you, because it's not something that you can really get your teeth into. However, if you're just looking for a quick blast, then it works very, very well. Now, it is still in early access, so I would probably wait. I mean, in terms of quality at the moment, the game is right up there. It is a high quality game. It runs great. It looks great. It sounds great. There's plenty of content in there, but there's no real reason why you wouldn't wait for the final version. That being said, I certainly would recommend the developers bring this to mobile. I can kind of see them kind of preparing for them to bring it to mobile, certainly, because it's got an interface that would work perfectly on an iPad, for example. And that is something that I think would work very well, and it would potentially attract a huge market just because of the quality of the game. However, for a more core PC player base, you're going to struggle to compete with the big hack and slash games out there, like the Diablo series, like things like Path of Exile. It is a good game, don't get me wrong. I just think that it is a little too simplistic for long-time players of games like Diablo and Path of Exile to really get a fair amount of enjoyment out of it. It is a little bit too simplistic. If you transfer this game over to an iOS device, it becomes something worth having for definite. And I think that's where the core of the market for this game will probably lie if the developers decide to do that. It'll be interesting to see what the developers do with the final version of Book of Demons, and of course what they do next in the Return to Game series. It'll be curious to see what, if any, other genres they pick, and what kind of mechanics they will have, and if they'll continue with the fantastic art style that Book of Demons have. I have no aversion to the game at all. I just think that it is far too simplistic for many, many people who really enjoy good in-depth hack and slash RPGs to get their teeth into. I think it is certainly something that would succeed massively on mobile. And that is my preview of Book of Demons. Thank you so much for watching and listening. As always, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, make sure to subscribe and share the video on social media. And as always, I will see you next time.